Well, welcome back, and as you can see, we are currently sitting under the roof at the DRC, which is where we all live. It's not raining all that hard at the moment, but it is rapidly approaching from the west, and we really don't want to risk any of our equipment getting damaged. We've got one more big Cat Week show this afternoon, and it's just not worth it. We can see it coming in, so we've decided that we're going to play it safe for now. But thank you for all sticking with us and joining us. And I will just say, on the subject of Big Cat Week, it has been the most extraordinary experience. And I want to do a quick shout out to both our cameramen and our technical department, as well as the fantastic directors. These are all people behind the scenes, but without whom there would not be any kind of a show to bring you. So although the presenters do spend a lot of the time speaking to you, it's nice to know that there are people out there who are working incredibly hard to bring you this incredible experience. Now, just a quick update on that elephant herd. As we were leaving, it was the Ellie with the slightly snared trunk. So that's the one. We're getting to know them individually. It's so cool that we're able to identify the different elephants around us. And I think that's also, there's always a little bit of that aspect of their personality, that they're a bit stressed out. It's particular of those three in that herd. And I think it's to do with the fact that she's always slightly separate from a bigger herd. She's sort of off on her own, and she doesn't feel quite so secure. As you can see, our rain plan includes me wearing a sail, which is what I currently have. I feel as though I could possibly sail the car. Now, we're also hearing storm clouds off. Now, that's another thing that we've got to be really careful of. It's not just the water and the rain, it's also the thunder and the lightning, and of course, mainly the lightning. And Anna-Marie, you were wondering if when there's lightning, do animals ever get struck? And the answer is yes, absolutely they do. Particularly giraffe. I know it sounds like a cliche, but they are tall, and especially in areas, not so much around here, we're in quite dense vegetation, but in open clearings where they are the highest point in that clearing, they do get struck. I've also seen, I came across a scene once and I just couldn't understand it. It was when I was doing my guides training. And we came up under a slightly damaged tree, and there were about 10 dead impala. And the instructor or the trainer at the time told me that that was largely due to a lightning, or that would have been due to a lightning strike. So it does happen. I think it's fairly unusual, particularly in this kind of vegetation. They get to hide away and find safe spots, but they are incredibly exposed to the elements. And I always feel for them a little bit when you go past heading for home and a nice hot cup of coffee, and there's some poor drenched and bedraggled creature looking at you from behind the leaves. It's something I'd always wondered about, is whether or not animals experience the discomfort of the temperature extremes that we experience. Just an interesting thought to have. Now, of course, we are all rejoicing at the fact that the rain is here. It is not an enormous amount. We need much more. We need a serious downpour to really start to boost the dams and to, for example, build up Buffelshoek Dam. The damage that's been done is fairly extensive. I've seen all of the dead fish that are rotting away there, and that's caused some serious damage to the water quality itself. And in an area like this, we're sitting probably needing about 500 mils or so of rain per year, and we've had about maybe 50. Very interesting question coming through, and you send through some magical ones, and thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So Alina, who's watching in California, has posed a very challenging topic. If I could create a new creature by combining two different animals that we see out here, and what would it be and what would its characteristics be? Oh, that is a difficult question. I think, Alina, something would have to involve a pangolin, just because they are so weird looking with their scales. Let's go with, how extreme can we make this?
Platypus.
Pardon?
Platypus.
A platypus and a pangolin combination. VM is helping me out. The wildebeest is giving us a little bit of an additional one. So a platypus and a pangolin combination. Essentially, we've taken two of the weirdest creatures that I can personally think of and combined them. I like to think that it would retain the bill of the platypus, but then have the scales of the pangolin. But in all seriousness, if I had to combine some of my favorite animal traits, I think I know I go on about this a lot, but I think we'd have to have some element of spotted hyena, just because they are so entertaining and so intelligent, and because we're learning so much about them just by watching the behaviors. One of the joys of these live safaris is the amount of time that we get to spend with individual creatures. What else would I combine? Sure. Imagine a hyena wild dog combination. That would be incredible. Something with the speed and stamina of the wild dog with the intelligence of the spotted hyenas. Intelligence seems to be escaping me this morning. The words are just not working. Now, we generally don't spend our safaris under a roof. Oh, I'm glad we stopped. The rain is definitely coming. It's starting to drizzle again. But Laura, you were wondering how far, if we were not rain driven to the ground, how far we would drive in our usual safaris. The answer, it depends on what you see. Obviously, if you get an amazing sighting, you spend most of your time. But let's say on a really quiet morning when you're spending a lot of time driving through, I would say probably around 20 kilometers. And to put that into miles for you, Laura, is roughly maybe just under 10 miles. So that's about the distance. The place that I used to work at, we actually used to do around 6 hours in the morning, and then we drive a lot further. Then you're looking at sort of 35 kilometers or over. So around maybe 15 to 20. Hello, Hayden.
Hey, buddy. I've got a help for you.
You're bringing a treat. Oh, thank you.
Cheers.
some coffee to warm us up.
I can't take the credit for all of that. Brent Leo Smith made that for you, my friend.
Aha.
He decided to make me one as well. Hi, folks. Caught in the weather. How's it been? Some good questions coming through?
Some amazing questions.
Great stuff.
We have got a fantastic question coming from Rachel. Now, Rachel would like to know what our favourite or most fantastic sightings have been, both for you and for me, in our safari live experience. It's a difficult one.
It's a really difficult one. We could be here for some time, Rachel, that's for sure. What about you?
Oh, I think a top for me, Rachel, has been some of the wild dogs, just because they've been incredibly exciting. And watching them being chased by things like elephants, herds of wildebeest, zebra, and the puppies and the interaction, it's just, we've been treated to the most phenomenal moments on safari. And then, of course, the hyena cub, just for me, it's a bit of a soft spot I have.
Yeah, Jamie's in love with that little cub.
I'm a little bit in love. In love.
Yeah, I think you're right about we just had a water pump go on. There's lots and lots of things that happens in this, right at this spot here is called DRC, and it's not the Democratic Republic of Congo we've driven to, it's actually our Duma Research Centre. So there's lots of pumps and lots of action. This is where we park the vehicles, and Jamie's probably explained all that to you. But my favourite parts, I have to agree with you, wild dogs are something really special. Brent put it into a great sort of analogy the other night. He said when he's following wild dogs, he feels like he becomes a wild dog. He feels like he becomes part of the hunt. It's frantic, it's frenetic, it's just a very exciting time to be there. When you're in the presence of those dogs, it really does blow your mind, doesn't it? I also love some of the leopard moments, but you know what, I have to say, in this particular shoot of Big Cat Week, the bushwalks have really blown my mind. Some of the small things that Scott and Brent and James have found.
Absolutely, the stuff that you see on walks is just... It is a mind-boggling amount of stuff for us to see out here. But to just go back to some of the bigger things, I know that Mandy and John and many others were looking for a bit of an update as to the various cat movements around here. And since it is Big Cat Week and we are currently stranded under a roof, of course everybody wants to know about the Nkuhuma Pride. For new viewers, it's one of our main prides that utilizes, this is pretty much the core part of their home range, and we haven't seen them in a really long time, because of the way that this drama has played out with the Birmingham Boy Coalition moving in and taking over. Now, part of the Nkuhuma Pride, there is one male who's, we call him a sub-adult. He's not really, he's bordering on an adult, and it's really sort of time that he headed out on his own, and he has been doing little forays into the wilderness on his own. Guys, I'm afraid I don't have an update on the Nkuhumas. The last we heard, they were all the way west, on the other side of Elephant Plains in Ottawa.
Right.
So we're still waiting. Yeah, it's very far away. It's not ideal for them. They shouldn't be there. The Majingalan Coalition is there, as well as a very big Ottawa Pride. So they're definitely straying into areas they shouldn't be. And I wonder whether or not that is because Junior is around them. The Birminghams are on Torchwood, which is far to the east of us. They are still slightly split up. They've had a little bit of a confrontation with each other over mating rights. It does happen. They're sort of establishing who's dominant and who gets access to the ladies. And then in terms of leopards, well, after Tingana moved into Elephant Plains, Shadow on Simbambili, that is pretty much the updates that we have from that side. But they will be moving through.
We just, Beam and I just came from that Buffelshoek Dam where you saw, sorry, where you saw us, and we had a squirrel alarm calling for some time, and we thought it was just the hyena, but Brent's going to go back and follow up on that area because that is Mvula territory, isn't it? And you never know what could be up there. So we will see a little bit of tracking maybe later on, particularly in the afternoon drive, our afternoon, which will be, or wherever you are, particularly in North America. It's a very, very important thing to know that there's always eyes on the ground, always loads of eyes on the ground, and really, really important to know that it's behind the scenes. What's going on behind the scenes is very, very important. Behind the scenes, loads of stuff goes on, particularly down in DRC here and wherever we're staying. So it's just great to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the behind-the-scenes antics are quite phenomenally entertaining at times. But HT, just talking about behind the scenes, we have a comment from Kathy, who is watching in Tennessee. Now, Kathy was saying to Hayden she's loving the Operation Wild Child.
Ah, Kathy, love you.
I'm all for. I think it's an incredible one, and she's an adult Operation Wild Child member reporting for duty and wanted to know if predators use the rain to their advantage out here.
That's an interesting one.
It is.
Well,
it definitely happens. It's good hunting weather, particularly with storm and wind blowing.
Yeah, it can confuse the predators. The prey animals.
Yeah,
definitely.
It disorients the animals. It slightly disadvantages them in terms of sense of smell and hearing. Not really weather like this though. But tonight, with the clouds and the storm and the rain, it's perfect hunting opportunity for them.
I tell you what, also it's perfect hunting opportunity, and that's for the likes of Brent Leo Smith, who is has an insatiable appetite for tracking. We know that, you know that, I know that, we all know that. He will not stop if he can't find that cat or that wild dog or whatever it is.
No.
But what happens is with this rain, it's a beautiful thing for tracking because it obliterates every single track. And then he gets out there like a bloodhound and puts his nose to the ground and he'll be on it if it's out there. He's going to be out there, yes, he's going to be out there this afternoon doing as best he can. And that's a great time. The rain actually makes the tracking start like a fresh page. That's also quite good. Operation Wildchild was an unofficial little thing that Jamie and I really like to get. All the guys were talking about, and it's just really about connecting kids with nature. That's all it's about. We just want to try and stimulate you, and I'm sure that you've got it in the back of your mind, but we've all got busy lives as well. And sometimes when you haven't got the time, you sort of you plonk on the lounge after work, the kids they get onto a tablet or something, or watch a bit of telly, and you have a cup of tea, and you sort of go, whoa. If you could just do half an hour a day, 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and go and find something wild, hey Jamie, in the backyard.
It's so important that, especially in the world of technology that we live in, which I'm not complaining about because obviously it brings live safaris from the middle of the bush, which still boggles my mind. But to have kids interacting and getting out into the outside world and be able to inspire that feeling. And you were just talking about sitting down with a cup of tea on the couch, and Jeffrey was wondering what snack foods are popular, to do a incredibly rapid change of subject. What
I don't know where this is going, Jeffrey.
Are popular in South Africa and which ones we enjoy. And Hayden, I actually think that's quite an interesting question for you because you're a visitor.
Okay. I think one of the best things you can have down in South Africa when you get here is the best biltong in the world. Now, okay, biltong isn't necessarily made all over the world, but the concept has been taken in North America. It's jerky, but South Africa does the best. I'm telling you, nothing like it on the planet.
No, it's definitely the best.
Dried, cured meat, unbelievable. What else do I get a craving for from down here? There's this very traditional little, extraordinarily sweet and overpowering little dessert called a koeksister. And you know what? When I first had one, they're pretty full on, aren't they?
Yeah.
You either get the urge for them. They're like these twists of donut soaked in honey or syrup, aren't they?
Yeah.
Occasionally. I don't have a sweet tooth, but that's quite an interesting one. Knickknacks.
Knickknacks are good. Knickknacks are a type of chip. Ghost pops as well. And of course the traditional South African rusk, which is a very hard type of biscuit, goes down very well with coffee.
Absolutely. And you know, I've eaten loads of snacks. When you're not in South Africa, one of my favourites up in Uganda is deep fried grasshoppers, which is always a nice one with a beer.
Now,
Don't know where that came from, but anyway.
now I know that my rain gear has been causing quite a stir, and X-Ranger is a little bit disappointed in you, Hayden, that you haven't kept yours on. I feel
I'm
like
hard.
it's,
I didn't even have it on. I'm just too hard.
you're just so
Too hard.
waterproof.
I just fought those raindrops off.
No,
I was actually completely soaked, and yeah.
yeah, no, we are sorry to have disappointed you in that respect. I'm very glad I've kept mine on because the rain is coming back, which unfortunately, guys, means that we are going to close the show for now. At least we had a bit of time this morning, plenty of hyenas about.
Absolutely.
So we've had an incredible time with you all, and we will say a big thank you. Do not forget to join us for our final show, for our final Big Cat Week show, which will be for us this afternoon, as well as our fireside chat summary.
Absolutely, that'll be fun.
And the announcement of the Safari Bingo winner. Yes,
Absolutely.
exciting stuff. I'm keen. I don't know about you.
Can I just say something, guys? This woman here is the most fantastic person to work with, and I'm going to embarrass her on camera now live.
This is
I know. I wasn't going to tell her about it. But you know what? Jamie is the most fantastic people to work with and listen to and learn so much from. And I have to just bang this home one more time. Any girls out there that want to do exactly what Jamie's doing, you can do it so easily. You're as a mentor, use her as a role model, and get out there and do it. That's really, really important. And one of the things Jamie and I have in common is our passion for getting young people outside, wherever you are in the world. And if Safari Live is the catalyst or the platform that takes you there, so be it. You know, we're doing our job properly. But you know what, guys? All you young people out there, all the people that have sort of gotten into this little concept, Operation Wild Child, keep it up. You know, the other thing they can do is just do ever so quickly is do 30 days wild or 7 days wild with your mum and dad. Do a wild thing every day for 7 days and see what you can do.
And by wild, we don't mean, you know, make a mess in the house or something.
No, or paint the walls, or cover yourself in peanut butter.
Go learn something.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
incredible.
Thank you, guys.
Loved having you here.
Great, mate. She rocks.